Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for Undocumented Student Week of Action. Today we have two representatives from TODEC Legal Center here to talk about Community Organizing 101. Luz and Ismael, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you to MSJC family. We're very happy to be here and to share some of the work as it deals with community organizing. Community organizing is an art. It's really specific and intentional. But today we wanted to take advantage of the session to spark and engage some of our sessions participants and to get engaged with community and to really get engaged with advocacy because that's where it starts. As an organization, we are an advocacy organization. That's how we were founded, as an advocacy organization to protect and defend the immigrant communities here in the regions, particular here in Paris, San Jacinto, all this side of Riverside County where we were founded. Of course, TODEC has expanded to serve the entire Inland Empire, but this is where we were founded in this area. And just a little bit of history, just to give you a view of how powerful community organizing really is, and the voices of our community, especially elevating what the realities are in the grassroots. It's so important and so powerful. In the 80s, when TODEC was founded, particularly here in Paris, if many of you are from the area, maybe your parents are from the area, these were very rural communities. We do still have a lot of rural communities. Back in the day, we had a lot of fields, a lot of farm workers. A lot of us were farm workers ourselves at one point, or our parents. So just seeing all those realities that we seen growing up in the region, where I myself graduated from Paris High School, and Paris High School, it was such a challenge even graduating from high school at those back in the day when we didn't have the resources to really support ourselves as we were trying to finish the K through 12, and we didn't have a support system. But thanks to community organizations like TODEC, a lot of us were able to graduate and go on and beyond. As we were told by our counselors that we weren't going to graduate, that we were low lives, and to go back to the fields and work. In particular in Paris, we continued seeing, when I was in high school, we continued seeing a lot of my peers were dropping out of high school and going into work into the fields. It was very generational. And when TODEC started organizing, not only the parents, but also the students, and really creating that consciousness of going on and beyond, and not satisfying for less, and really bringing in counselors, outside counselors that really supported us as students and our family and our parents to give us the classes we needed with the A through G so we could go on to college. We saw that difference, and elevating the voices and realities. We started seeing that a lot of us were graduating out of high school and going on into college, and now coming back to the community to work as community organizers or in different fields. It really created a consciousness for a lot of us that were part of these efforts growing up in this part of the region. As we were seeing, our parents were getting deported, our friends' parents were getting deported. So it's been a real challenge for us that live here in San Jacinto, Menifee, Paris, Nuevo, Lake Elsinore, Temecula, Murrieta, all the way up to the border, as we know that we are a border region. I mean, it stops in Moreno Valley all the way up to all our communities here, all the way up to TJ. It's a border region, so we are so used to seeing Border Patrol patrolling our streets and separating our families, and that's been a norm. Back in the day, I remember the farmers when they didn't want to pay our farm workers, they would just call the Border Patrol and hacían redadas. They would just literally pick up our compañeros and deport them. But thanks to a lot of the efforts of our organization, as we continue to organize and advocate for community, we have seen the shift in our region, not only in these communities that we live here in, you know, all these areas, San Jacinto, Paris, and all these areas, but we've seen the leverage that we are having in the entire state of California. And all of this didn't happen because of magic or luck. It really took a lot of work, a lot of grassroots organizing and mobilizing, advocating to create policies and systems change that really reflect the needs and the challenges that our community is having. I know with the whole mobilization to pass la amnistía, amnesty, that helped over 3 million immigrants, particular farm workers, to get their immigration status, to get a legal permanent resident. That was a community effort that a lot of the time, the credits given to President Reagan, he just signed the bill, but it really took a lot of us that were able to be part of that effort to push our federal legislators to push and vote in favor of this legislation that has provided so many opportunities to our parents, to our uncles, to our friends, to our neighbors, to our community to have a legal status. And now seeing the reality of these of this base of millions of immigrants now being US citizens and now being able to vote and really voting for those that they feel really represent their values has definitely been a win for our communities, not only for those that have a legal status, but for those that are undocumented, as we're elevating the issues that are important for us, because as immigrants, we all, either ourselves or our family, our parents, our grandparents came from another country, and now we're here in this country that is truly ours. But how do we create that change that really reflects the needs that we have as residents? It's created by anger. It's created by valentía. It's created by the way that we feel as residents of this county, as immigrants or daughters or grandkids of immigrants. It's created because of that passion that we have as organizers. So what we want to do in this session is really give you a little bit of history of what has been done through community organizing and really trigger you to really get involved in organizations like ours, or organizations that really trigger that organizer in you to really create, to step into your power and to elevate your voice and fight for what you believe is true. All of us, a lot of us within the organization, you know, we all come from different paths of lives, and we all have different priorities. But what we do know is we want justice for all. A lot of us might have different priorities. I know there's an environmental movement. I know even here in our communities, when with the fields, what we had like big issues with pesticides and what that was causing in our environment here in the region, and it continues to happen. But you know, different issues that, you know, you feel that and you're so passionate, it really creates a person to step into their power. And in this session, we want to share a little bit of history, and so just to open our minds as you're hearing us today, opening your minds to what is possible just by being present, just by elevating your voice, just by elevating the issues that are in your community to create social change that we need so desperately, especially right now with COVID, that we are being challenged and triggered to change and pivot every day, as we are seeing this pandemic that is not only taking our one side of the population, but COVID, as we know, it's a pandemic that does not discriminate against gender, against color of the skin, unless against if you have a green card or if you don't. It's really taking our community as a toll. And what we've seen with COVID, that it's really has generated a lot of trauma within our communities, and it has shed a lot of light to a lot of the inequalities that have existed in our region and in our country for decades. And we really want to take the opportunity of this time that all of us, one way or another, are triggered, and we are right now unapologetic to the way we feel and to the way the challenges have been living in this country as people of color. As we know, even, I mean, we still have a long way to go. I know we've had a lot of wins. I know back in the day, Mexicans couldn't vote. I remember my grandmother used to tell us in the buses, they would say no perros, no negros, no mexicanos. You know, literally it was really bad. And a lot of that movement, a lot of the Chicano movement, you know, has a lot of civil rights, you know, movements that have really created the pathway for us to have better opportunities. And we really need to take advantage of these opportunities. And it's very, for me, it's very empowering to see colleges like MSJC take on this conversation. I mean, it's very empowering because it really starts with the students. It starts with the young people. It starts with our parents. But right now, we are really doubling down into our young adults and youth as far as how they feel, how they are triggered right now, and what they want to do, and how they're going to hold the power that they have to really push forward policies, you know, and systems change, and to create that that community that we truly want to live in. So with that, you know, I ask all of you to look into your heart, into your mind, into your passion. What drives you? What drives you as a teacher? What drives you as a faculty within the MSJC? What drives you as a student? What drives your parents? What triggers you? What's triggering you right now? It's really looking upon ourselves to create that passion and to find that passion so we could fight in this long fight that it's I mean, it's generations and generations of people that fought before we came to make a better life for us. But then we really are counting on our young adults, on our students, on our youth to really seek their power, because we need to make sure there's continuity to the work that has been paved before us. So there's that history does not continue repeating itself. So community organizing, it starts with one person. It starts with one person that is triggered, and it's mad, that is mad about whatever it is happening within our lives, and that wants to create that change and wants to organize others or join efforts to seek justice for whatever their priorities are. I know with elections right now, you know, we continue to see within our youth, within TODEC's Monarcas Luchadoras program, that our youth come from different parts of, you know, they come from different paths of life. Some of them are refugees that were actually in detention centers, separated from their families, from their parents. Some of them are undocumented students. Some of them are DACA recipients that had the opportunity, you know, to be that are protected by DACA. You know, some of them have parents some of them are U.S. citizens born here, but their parents are undocumented. You know, so we have a mixed pot of membership within the organization. But one thing that we all are, our common denominator is that we want to see a better future for our next generations. And that's how we've been creating social change. Just some examples of current wins, especially here in California. I know there's a lot going on at the federal level that we continue hearing, especially as immigrants or people of color are targeted and challenged. But here in California, we have definitely seen the impact of community organizing across the state as we continue to push forward policy that really protects and defends our most vulnerable community, and that is our undocumented immigrants. I just by talking here with MSJC, and we're talking about Undocumented Student Week, California Dream Act, that came from community organizing, that came from elevating the voices. All these laws don't happen because of magic or because somebody said, oh, let's pass. No, it really came from a place that where we were working together with then Assembly members Gil Cedillo and elevating the issues and realities of our kids that were trying to go from high school to college, and they were being told that they didn't qualify for FAFSA. You know, that reality, by elevating these stories, not within only by TODEC, by our organization, but other partners across the state, and then him pushing through some policy, and then us as organizers mobilizing and putting pressures on the other electeds to really vote in favor of the California Dream Act, and then seeing the governor sign it. And now we have this opportunity that we had even before DACA. So this is one very tangible piece that I want to share with you all, because many of you might be a recipient, maybe had been fortunate enough that you guys are being, you know, supported by the California Dream Act. This is a piece of community organizing, as us coming together, mobilizing our students, elevating the issues, mobilizing the Sacramento Capitol, or making calls, collecting signatures. That's what some of the community organizing efforts that took place to get the California Dream Act passed. And then so many other policies that we have. I mean, come on, California is a sanctuary state. I mean, how much more can we do in California just by elevating the voices and the realities of our community? And that's all has to play with community organizing. So what I ask you is to look into yourself, into your mind. What triggers you? What's a challenge for you, for your families? What is your power? What's your superpower? And what how are you going to use that superpower to really create change for yourself, for your family, and for your community? You know, it really takes one to start something. And even within the campaigns that we have, you know, a lot of the policy that we push comes from the grassroots, you know, and that's why for us it's very important to engage in these conversations with our member base, with our allies, with the colleges, with the students, to see what is happening, so we can organize and rally around these issues that are so important for our community. So at this point, I want to ask Ismael, he's our Civic Engagement Coordinator, to talk a little bit about what we're doing now within some of the campaigns that he's leading, and how youth and students and young adults are playing such a significant role into the future of 2020 and beyond with our current campaigns that we have going.
Hi guys, my name is Ismael Cruz. I'm the Civic Engagement Coordinator at TODEC Legal Center. I've been really blessed and really lucky to have this job. And let me tell you guys, like Lou said, if you have that, something triggers you to act upon something, if you feel that urgency to tell someone something that you just found out, you know, especially if it's something that can affect the community and help them out, you know, definitely step into a role that can do that. I work with a lot of kids that are coming out of high school or still are like seniors or they're young college. And it's been really awesome to just work with them with different projects. Something that we just finished recently was the census, right? Something that's really important, something that's going to affect the next 10 years of our lives, right? So, you know, we did different things like canvassed, we went door to door, we knocked, we told community the importance of census, what it was. And, you know, working with a lot of our immigrant community, there's a lot of fear out there. And there's a lot of information that's not really understood. So a lot of people stay away from programs like Census because they know it's like it's having to do with the government. And a lot of people who just are not documented or just they're not well informed, they just avoid it completely. And we know the importance of that participating, right? So, you know, a lot of our youth got a lot of firsthand experience, you know, speaking to people the importance of Census. They saw a lot of the community's needs, you know, and then also something really cool with working with immigration that we do. We also like to, you know, give them a little information about how they can help out. You know, when they go door to door, they go tell them about Census, but then they say, hey, yo no tengo papeles, I don't have papers. Like, like a lot of people are scared about different things, and then just arming our youth with just little information about how or what they can do to help them out. It's really awesome because that helps create change. And like I said, firsthand experiences, I think, is the best way to create leaders too, right? So by creating leaders, it's what we want to do in our community. We want to have people who say, hey, like, I see that something needs to be done, let me go do it. And that's something that here at TODEC we like to do a lot. We like to definitely create leaders and work with our youth. Right now, something that we're pushing, and it's really important, is the get out to vote, where we're asking people if they're going to be engaged in voting, let them know the importance of voting. Um, especially for those people, we have to raise up our voices and protect those, especially that can't vote. Right? There's a lot of people who can't vote in the community, and by us participating and voting, it's a protection, or it's a way to speak up for our community. So we work with like different projects, so like with the Census, with Get Out to Vote. Another really humbling program, that we were doing is, the Master Medicine, where we are actually working with the community out there, firsthand experience, giving them masks, giving them essentials. We were just dealing with programs like that. And it's so awesome just to see how community is so grateful and they're so thankful to have that. And just to be that middle person, right? Be the person to hand them over that box is just such a big, in reality, you think that you're helping them so much, and you are, but in reality you're helping yourself a lot more with shaping yourself with who you are and what more can come out from you, right? And who can you touch so that they can also be leaders as well, and also help keep that flow, right? So it's really important to keep going with that. It's really humbling.
Thank you, Ismael. That brings a lot. What we have seen, as far as our organization, we're an immigrant justice organization, and going on 40 years now in the IE. We immigrants have always been an afterthought, until recent years. We started being more on the scope of things. Also, our brothers and sisters, our Black brothers and sisters as well. But inequalities have always existed for our communities. But one of the things that, to be honest, as an longtime organizer, I've been very humbled, is to have seen the diversity of support within our movement from people of different, very diverse populations, where we're just seeing brown people, Black people. We have been seeing a lot of other allies, all ethnicities come, step in and ask us, how can we support? I might not be an immigrant, or I might not be a person of color, but I truly believe in equality. And how can I join your struggle? How can I join your fight? And for me, that's these last 4 years have been really difficult and challenging for us as organizers that serve and organize this population. But at the same time, it has opened doors to other opportunities that we have seen across sector of other allies and other population ethnicities that has stepped into supporting our cause. For me, that's been very, very humbling, and also to our team, that we continue seeing this partnership, as we are in a country that's been very politically divided. But there's so much love and compassion across lines. I want to share a little bit of one of our programs that one of our youth, our young youth, their elementary and junior high and a couple of high school kids took on. And this is how we're creating leaders. I mean, our kids that are involved within our organization, they're just paying attention to what's out there. And a couple of years ago, when I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about how our refugee families were coming into the country, and the current administration was ordered CBP to separate the kids from their parents. So the kids were detained in cages and facilities away from their parents. So from that reality, our kids were paying attention to that, and they're always changing. They want to create change, and they want to do what's right. And they came together, and they were like, well, how can we organize around this? How can we make change? And within, like I mentioned before, within TODEC, our membership is very diverse. We have kids that are refugees, and we have diverse. So within some of our youth, especially some of our refugee kids that were actually in detention centers, and that they had, experience that being in cages and being in these rooms that are very, very cold, and them sharing their realities. They said, they came together and they said, how can we make change? How can we organize around this? And they all came to the conclusion that they couldn't change the president's mind. They couldn't change President Trump's mind. But what they could do is really bring a little bit of support and love to these kids that were still in detention. So what they organized, which was a really localized effort, was to organize letters, kind of pen pal, to kids that are in detention. So through our legal side, we participated with detention site visits under the Flores Act. That our legal team, we would go into the centers and talk to the kids to make sure that their rights weren't being violated. And through those visits, we incorporated some of the letters that the kids, our youth, were writing, and the drawings and whatnot. So what started in a very localized effort that's called Letters of Love to Kids, that's now like on nationwide. We have so many colleges, schools involved, and people across the nation involved. It started within our organization, within our youth. They started writing the kids in Spanish, writing them really positive. We're here for you. We love you. Having this really made a difference within the kids that we had in detention. And our kids started sharing this within the social media, and what started localized gathered media, like international media attention. So now we started gathering. Then we started seeing letters come from we received letters from almost every state in the union. When people are sending us letters, our kids are organizing the letters, and then our legal teams are actually delivering the letters to the kids in detention. But this is a piece of community organizing, that really was taken on a small campaign, that really exploded to something bigger. And Letters of Love to Kids is international. We get letters from Spain on the daily basis. Right now with COVID, looks a little bit different, but it's going to continue. Our youth said that their campaign is going to continue even until all the kids are reunited with their families. And right now there's a lot of that going on in the news, that some of the kids, they can't localize their parents, so there's a lot going on. So community organizing per se, it's up to us as a person. What makes us whole. I could tell you for myself and my team and Ismael, and our jobs, yes, we are paid, but to be honest, we would do this without pay, because this is our passion, and this is our lifestyle, and this is what we wake up in the morning, and we're just so blessed to be working in a space that we love. It doesn't take, I know, and one of the things we always tell our kids is like, whatever you decide to do in your life, do it with passion and do it with love. We tell the parents, the other parents tell their kids, it's like, oh, quiero que seas doctor, I want you to be a doctor. And we tell the parents, no, let your kids do what they want to do, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to drive their life, and they're the ones that are going to wake up in the morning, and they're the ones that are going to want to wake up in the morning to go to this job. So with that said, I truly want to tell all you all that whatever you do is do it with passion and do it with love, and it's so satisfying. And it's TODEC has really created us that have gone through as youth, and then now as adults coming back to work for the organization, a community conscious to really do more and to give back to our communities. To be honest, with COVID since March, our team's time, we've been 7 days a week, because there's so much need in our communities, and we really rely on volunteers, because without our volunteers, we wouldn't be able to have the impact. And our volunteers are community organizers, right? Because we all do different pieces of community organizing. So what I invite you all is to really look into yourself, look into what what gets you mad? I think as community organizers, we have that, you know, you have to have something that drives you, you know, that, you know, I'm going to fight for this until I win. And how are we going to create that space to continue creating, organizing spaces and campaigns that really make change? You know, right now, Ismael talked about some of our civic engagement campaigns that we run all year. We do voter registration all year. We do GOT, get out the vote, every election, regardless local, federal, state, it doesn't matter. We mobilize our community because at the end of the day, the way we're going to create social change is by building a very strong electorate that it's cultural for us to vote. If you are a US citizen and you're 18, it is a sin not to vote. You know, one of the things I want to plug in is for those of you that are US citizens and are 18 years of age, please make sure you vote. Please make sure you're informed. I know we gave a session on voting, but our life depends on it. The life of your undocumented friends depends on it. You know, it's all of us, but vote for your priorities. One of the things we always say, as we are not nonpartisan organization, we tell community, make sure that whoever you're going to vote for represents your values, represents what you believe in and their platform. Because we cannot go off color of the skin or parties or last name. We have to go off what each person stands for. Because at this time that we're in, we need champions. We are tired of promises. You know, we are tired of promises. What I want to lift up is that if you are a voter, please do your research. Don't rely, on, like I said, on parties, on last names, our color of the skin. Rely on the person and rely on their history and what they stand for, and make sure it really aligns for what's important for you. We all have different mindsets and we all have different priorities, but just by us being a voter and being present, you know, people are paying attention regardless of who which way you're going. It's just being present as people of color, Latinos, Blacks. I mean, regardless of ethnicities, by you being present, that's how you are using your power to empower those that do not have the power to vote. You know, and our campaigns around civic engagement are just so important for us, because that's a way that we have been creating, power within our community. So politicians look, okay, this is an engaged community. What are their priorities? And they're catering to our needs, because at the end of the day, once they're in the power, they represent all of us, regardless of, parties or anything. They represent all of us, and we have to work with everyone. So communication is important. So I want to thank MSJC for this very opportunity to really elevate local organizing. The organizing in IE is so important. We have a lot of history, especially in these communities of Harris, San Jacinto, Murrieta, Hemet, Moreno Valley, Coachella, like all these areas. I mean, there has been so much that has been done, and we are definitely in a better place. I'm telling you, when I was in high school, I didn't have the opportunities that our kids do now. And that's why we're like, take advantage of all the opportunities, do whatever it is that drives you, but do it with passion, and make sure that whatever you end up doing, that you're gonna love getting up in the morning to do your job. And then more importantly, if you have that inner you, the inner organizer in you to get involved, get involved. We need allies. Right now we need allies so much. We need allies, and we rely heavily on volunteers, but search for your superpower and whatever drives you, and join efforts that really represent your values. Because at the end of the day, things don't happen again because of magic, because of luck. Change is created by us, and all of us, every single one of us. It's just when we tell our kids, it's like even a little baby, a little newborn has power within their voice. We tell them when a little newborn is hungry or has a dirty diaper, what do? They cry and they scream, and that's their voice, and that's how the moms know, I need to feed my child. the power of our voice is so important. And that's what we do as an organization, elevating the voices of our grassroots and making sure that they're part of these very important conversation. And that's how we've seen here, not only in Riverside County, but in the entire state of California, that we are in a very better place that we were than some of us that were in high school many years ago, that we didn't have the opportunities that our kids have now. So with that said, we're open to questions. Community organizing is it's very technical, but what we wanted to do today is just have a conversation, to spark maybe future organizers, future people that want to step into that power and elevate their voices and really create the inner organizer in you to step up and be part of these movements and to create systems change within our communities. So open to questions, and we do have a full, within the organization, we have a leadership program that we do in the summer. Right now, because of COVID, everything is virtual, but we do have ongoing leadership, organizing trainings. We run so many campaigns that there's always a place to plug in. If you want to plug in with us, we'll drop our website on the chat. So that's one way to get engaged. Oh, one more thing I want to share. Most recently, we opened our young adults youth program. We launched our online store where we're using our art to build to fundraise. So we have a print shop that's helping our youth programs to create revenue. So we're doing our own printing of shirts. So if you guys need shirts to be printed, please utilize our organization, as this is a way that we're fundraising too, so we can continue funding these programs, our youth organizing programs. So the name of our social entrepreneurship from our kids is called T-shirts por la causa. So we're able to print shirts. So if you're ever in need of getting something printed, we just launched this entrepreneurship that's going to help us fund, our leadership development, community organizing as it deals with youth and community. So thank you. We're open for questions.
Caston, did they answer your question?
Yes.
There's a couple questions in the chat, Luz, if you want to.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Okay, so Caston had a really good question. As a student that has not struggled as undocumented, we need allies like you, Caston, because we need to show the diversity that within the movement and this is what I had talked earlier about, how within these last years we've seen so many people from diverse backgrounds and ethnicities come in and join the fight because they want to see change for different communities. And a lot of the campaigns that we run is not just for immigrants, because there's a lot of intersection. Like right now we're doing Census, which is going to help everybody. The vote, get out the vote, is going to help everybody. Health, making sure health is equitable. It's for everybody across the board. Housing, to create more affordable housing. It's not just for immigrants, but when a law is passed, remember it impacts or it benefits all Californians, right? So a lot of our campaigns are very are for benefit of everybody, but we always elevate, especially with different policies that we push at the state level, like for example, the California Dream Act, SB 1159, like different policies that we were able to pass, like even the driver's license for undocumented immigrants. These types of policies, of course, they just impact or benefit undocumented immigrants, but then we run so many other campaigns or policies that really benefit like all the community. And we do need allies, just by standing next to a person that does not have the same privilege, you are creating change. Even myself, even Ismael, we are privileged, right? Because we have an education, we have a job, We have health insurance. A lot of our community we work with right now, they don't even have a job. They don't even have a safety net. They've been working, and their companies have been taking out unemployment benefits for so many years, and they can't even tap into that benefit. That's their own fund, but they don't, because they're undocumented, they can't even use that fund. And a lot of them have been laid off because of COVID, because there's no economy. So imagine having, being displaced from a work, and you need to feed your kids, you need to pay the rent, and you don't have any safety net to support your family. So all of us are using our privilege to help those that don't have the same privilege that we do. So just, use your privilege. We all use our privilege. Those of us that have privilege to fight for those that don't. And then, and we always, our community that doesn't have the privilege, for us, they're part of the movement, because we need to elevate their stories. Just how I said about the baby crying, they need to yell and scream, this is happening to me, because those are the real stories that come from community. So, if you want to become a community, if you want to get involved, we ask you to join on our website. You could sign up as a volunteer. There's different ways to support. And if you go on our website, it says different ways to support. You could donate. Oh, thank you, Suzanne, you put it in there. You could donate. You could get involved, be a volunteer. You could get involved with our youth programs, our young adult program. It's college and K through 12 up to college, So there's different ways to get involved. But if you just want to, buy a shirt, because that really helps us to fund these programs, because these programs are not funded. We don't receive funding. We have funding for our legal services or other things, but we are definitely underfunded, and we definitely rely on volunteers and people of good heart that donate to our organization.
Are there any more questions, Cassin, Tony?
Yes. Is there any transportation to get to your location?
Great question, Tony. Right now, because of COVID, we're doing things a little bit different. We're relying on technology. So a lot of our volunteers are also doing a lot of work from home, using technology, their computers or whatnot. But when we do have mobilizations, we do have transportation. But right now, because of COVID, we're working a little bit different. But if it was, once COVID is over and we're able to gather and all that, we do have transportation, especially if you live here within the surrounding communities of, like my MSJ is around Paris. So of course, we do have flexibility on transportation.
Okay. And I think the other word that you were trying to use is that we need to have ganas. Que necesitamos ganas para hacer cosas.
See, that's very important, Tony, what you're saying, that we have to have ganas, right? We want to want something so bad that we want to create change. A lot of us, what we see within our volunteers, our members, is a lot of them join because they want to see change and they're mad. A lot of them just because they want to be part of and support, right? A lot of them because they have the ganas to give back to community. So we have, different types of people that are engaged with the organization. But at the end of the day, the common denominator is that we want to see change for the betterment of our community and our county and our state, that we want to make sure that we're strong, not only culturally, right? Because we're people from different cultures, but also politically, economically, and we want to make sure our kids are educationally, they're going on and beyond with their dreams. So ganas is one of the components. So if you have ganas, like Tony says, and you want to get involved, sign up on our TODEC.org, or if, we have people that just say, well, I'm not like, I don't want to be I don't have time to be so much involved, but I want to support. So a lot of them, when we have campaigns, you know, one of the ways you could support is by making sure you're just voting or participating in the census. That's a way to support not only us, but yourself. So, you know, there's ways to be involved that don't require as much. So it's also the level of how you feel as a person. Everybody is different, you know, it's different. Some of them really want to be like on the ground, like knocking on doors, like, you know, mobilizing to Sacramento or DC, or, you know, really being on the ground. Others is like, oh, just make a call, like, you know, make a call to your representative, say you want this, you know. So there's different ways to get involved. Not, you know, it's not just, you know, being out there, but definitely there's different ways to get involved. So we invite you, if you're have you know, that drive to get involved, we invite you to join the effort.
Yeah, I would love to join. I just gotta know how exactly am I gonna get involved from out here.
Where do you live?
I live out in Banning.
Oh, Banning. Yeah, we have a base in Banning, Beaumont. So we have a base out there. So yeah, sign up. And then Ismael, which he's our coordinator for our civic engagement programs, you know, you know, once we need volunteers or anything's going on, they'll contact you and they'll explain, you know, what it is that we're doing and whatnot.
Yeah, also follow us on our social media too, on our Instagram, Facebook. It's TODEC1. That way you're always seeing like the different things that we have going on. Sometimes we're promoting like different events, so just to keep updated.
Well, can you post it up on the chat so I could click on it and add you guys up then and there?
Thank you, Ismael. Are there any more questions from our viewers here? Okay, well, this was a really great presentation, Luz and Ismael. This was very informative. We'll be posting this on our YouTube channel so people can view it later. Thank you for joining us here today, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.